Today we are working on the Monster Jimmy again. We're going to try and get back to the dual shocks and the steering stabilizer now that I have power. So let's get into it. So I realized that in this shop, if I have the little heater going and the compressor kicks on, it blows everything out. So I have some electrical issues, and it's either have the air compressor or have heat. So for now, I'm going to turn the heat on for a little bit and do everything by hand. And let's see, where were we? Okay, I'm just setting up the dual steering stabilizer, and I just realized that I have the U-bolts on wrong. That has to go on top and the U-bolts on the bottom. And I need to have new U-bolts made for the center. The Superlift U-bolts are not quite long enough to go around a Dana 60. The BDS kit that's on the Beastly Dually will fit around the Dana 60 with the bracket. It still needs to be a little longer, so I actually have to have U-bolts made for both of them. So I'll probably just get 4 made, and then problem solved on both trucks. And I need U-bolts and plates for here, right? And we're going to try and because I have 2 sway bars sitting in there. So we'll get rid of that top one and we'll install the drop brackets. So I just have to bolt this bottom one up and I don't have to touch those plates for now. And that gets a lot of parts out of the way. Dual shocks, yes, we have factory dual shock setup, and this had the Pro Comp bracket, so that there were literally 2 in a row, but they're staggered with the factory. So the only issue I'm going to have is I just have bolts that are too long. So I can set it up with temporary bolts and make a list and get U-bolts and proper bolts for everything. And then I think we can do bumpers. I have so many bumpers around here, it's crazy, and it'd be nice to just start getting them out of the way. So we'll throw some bumpers on this thing. And I just remembered that while the gears are out, it'd be nice to figure out what gear ratio. I can guarantee that they're not the proper ratio for the 45s. So probably a good thing I didn't mess around trying to put them in anyways. So let's get busy. I keep forgetting to mention something. I recently opened up my Instagram so that it's not private anymore. So I am posting on Instagram daily. And I've just been messing around. It's doing quite good. Got 80,000 views in the last 2 weeks. So go over to Instagram, check it out, please. And don't forget, we have a motorcycle channel. Go to the channel section and check out the motorcycle channel. Please subscribe. All right, just had to throw that in there. Okay, we have the dual steering stabilizer installed. It's not exact, it's just placed in because I know it's all coming apart again. And I just threw some sap straps in there to hold the center bracket. We have the dual shock kit, which is just a big long bolt with a spacer. So we got shocks. So let's see, what do I need? I need bolts, upper bolts for the shocks. I need U-bolts for this steering stabilizer kit and another set for the dually. And we need plates. And that extra U-bolt made because it's got to go around here, and I don't have any that are big enough to go around there. And this diff cover has a great big dent in it. I don't know if you can see it. So I won't be using those. I kind of think I want to use the Yukon diff covers. They look really nice. So I'm not doing chrome diff covers on this. We're actually going to put some quality ones on. But these diffs were powder coated, and they actually powder coated the surface where the diff cover goes on, so the back I was able to scrape off. This has not been so easy, so I'm going to have to deal with these. They were powder coated and they're all scratched everywhere. So I don't know if somebody did the powder coating at home or what. I was told the frame was, but clearly it's not, because it's got little rust spots everywhere. Anyways, moving on. Drop brackets are next. And then we'll look at the steering. These are Usually a pain, but if you have a body lift, you can get through here a lot easier. And usually a deep socket drops in to get that back one. Front ones are okay. And this, whatever this kit is, requires 4 different bolts. The ones that I have are just one big long bolt. It's always a pain, those things, for some reason. Let's get it done. All right, dog. Beat it. I'm trying to get something done. I have the extra sway bar removed. All 3 bolts came loose except for the back one. I had to cut it off with a cut-off wheel. And I forgot to have these little holes here so you can get a ratchet through and access the back bolt, which makes life easy. I still needed a flex head socket, whatever you want to call it. So these are the new ones. They just go there and to the sway bar, but I don't think I should install them, now that I think about it, until I get those plates. It might make my life easier if I have to just, if I can just pull that sway bar right out, change the plates, put it back in, something like that. So we'll just wait. But here's the old sway bar. There's the old brackets. It's not a lot different, but it is enough. Maybe an inch or so, and we'll take it. And we'll get into the steering in a second. But I was looking at numbers on these gears, and hey, I forgot to do the math. Hang on one second. It turns out these are 373s with 45s. That's not going to cut it at all. So we'll have to deal with that another day. And I think there's only one bearing race here, so I'm going to have to buy all new stuff for them anyways. So that's another project. And now that I've pulled all of this stuff out of this thing and rounded up so many parts, I now have brackets for the sway bar for another build. I have 2 different sets of blocks. I have tons of U-bolts. I have the steering arm and the block. I have a dual shock kit. And I have the drag link, the drop drag link. I have almost enough that we can lift 2 more square bodies. So I kind of think you know where I'm going with that. Now let's talk about the steering. Let me get my tape measure. We have a 12-inch lift kit. And when I originally ordered this lift kit, it was for 1/2 ton, 3/4 ton setup, because I had 3/4 ton diffs in my other Blazer. And now we're dealing with a Dana 60 with a whole different steering setup. So all of the parts that I have from the other kit, they're not really going to work, because we have this, I believe, what is it, pitman arm? We have a drop pitman arm, and that's a 3-inch drop. That is a 2.5-inch block from the Dana 60 steering lift. So that's 5.5 inches. And then I have, they call it a 4-inch dropped drag link from Procon. So what's that give us? 9.5 inches. It's, if you look at the drop from there to there, 4 inches is not going to cut it. It's a lot. So my steering's never going to be right. And the only solution, to me, the proper solution, is just get the high crossover steering kit. I believe Off-Road Design, they're $650 US. By the time it gets to Canada with exchange and shipping, it's probably going to be in the $900 to $1,000 range. And then I believe it mounts over to that side. Oh, and then I have to change the steering box to a 2-wheel drive steering box. It's kind of unfortunate because this one looks like it's brand new, but oh well. I kind of have an idea on what to do there. So I need to order that for this thing to have steering. But like I said, we're just doing mock-up. And let's get into the powertrain. We have what is supposed to be an LT1 350, and it was supposed to be a turbo 400, and it's not. It's a 700 R4 So anytime I've learned, you buy a project that somebody else has been building, and this has been in the hands of a few different people that I'm not familiar with. I'm not sure what I'm dealing with, especially when it comes to the engine. I mean, there's a lot of good parts on the engine, but why do I want to run a small block in this thing? I have options. They all require me throwing tons and tons of money. But that transmission's coming out, that engine's coming out, and I have a use for that transmission, which we'll see if you guys think that's a good idea or not. Oh yeah, and it's got a 208 transfer case, which who wants a 208 with this thing? So next is I need to somehow, I gotta round up somebody to give me a hand. I gotta get this thing outside so I can have a look at it. I've got to adjust the toe in. It's way out of whack. But that's where we're at with this thing. At least I got all these parts on it and out of the way. I know what I'm dealing with. I know what I have to order for now. So it's order parts time and bring something else in. But I gotta see it outside first. One thing that I do when I'm puttering with these things is I like to sit in my chair after I've done something, a whole bunch of work for it, and just look it over. I just keep staring at little details. And this is one that I really, really want to be spectacular. And so when you lift a truck this much, you can see everything underneath that you don't normally. You know, like right here, I can see a whole bunch of filler work. And this line actually drops down and around, and then it drops down here again. And the tailgate's touching. Like, this line is horrific. It actually curves down. The tailgate's literally touching all the way up. Like, it's actually completely touching. And I believe, yeah, this is the side they did the quarter panel on. So I want to make this one of the best builds ever that I've accomplished, you know, with my friends, with Mr. White. And then if you look at the body lines on that rocker and the door, there's all sorts of waves in the bottom of the door, and yeah, I'm pretty sure you can see where I'm going. It's horrific. And you know, I understand people gotta learn somehow, and I'm no expert. But I'm just saying that that's one of the things I like to do after I've done a bunch of work, is I like to just sit in my chair and just look, see what I see. And I've been watching a lot of fabricating videos, welding videos. So that's why I want to bring the COE in after this one, because I need to learn how to get my welding and fabricating skills started before I jump on the Kraken. And we're going to focus on just the top 4 builds, which is the Monster Jimmy, the Kraken, the 42 cab over seemed to get a lot of views, and I really want to get on that one. I have so many parts around here that we can almost accomplish that build. And then of course we will be bringing the beastly dually in at some point. And those are the top 4 I'm going to focus on. Got the shop opened up finally. Got my gantry crane in. Got all of this side completely cleaned up. Now we can have a little peek, figure out how I'm gonna get this thing out and back in by myself. Because I gotta see it outside now. I know I said we'd do bumpers, but the day's disappearing on me quick. Well, that should give you an idea with the 2-wheel drive Blazer sitting next to it, where the window is. That's what I've always wanted to build. That is spectacular. So the top of the fender right here is the roof of my canopy, and if I pull up next to the cab over, I could pretty close to see eye to eye with it. Oh, so much more work to do. But I want to drive it. I want to drive it. There you go. We got a Monster Jimmy finally. Something serious to represent the Monster Garage. Wow, it's beautiful. See, now the blue doesn't bother me as much. Because, you know, it's all tires and wheels. All right. I have to put this in the shop now and finish it. Should only take a couple of days and that's out of here. Oh boy, I gotta shop again.